And we're live. Welcome to Bill and Ammon's Bogus Hangout. We're short and Ammon today, but we've got quite a crew already. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves and tell us what they're up to. Zara?
Yes, hi.
What are you up to?
I have a specific question for WordPress people. Is now a time to start?
No. Now's the time to tell us who you are and what you've been doing lately.
Oh, who I am and what I do.
and we can get to the question as soon as we go around.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my name is Lauren here, and I do semantic writing for businesses on their website. Short version.
Okay. Terry, would you introduce yourself?
Terry Van Horn, web developer, SEO, I guess. Been working on some event schema events on the site. That's about it.
And just to add to that passionate retort is he obviously loves what he's doing.
Yes, please.
Stephen, why don't you introduce yourself?
Steve Gritzer, technology evangelist. I've decided I need a new term because, marketers so boring, and maybe I can be vice president in charge of visionary visions or whatever. Peyote Smoker 101. I love the folks at LinkedIn, but some of these titles people have been giving themselves have completely blown my little mind. There's a certain level of arrogance to them that I find quite entertaining. But as far as what's going on around here, just trying to get clients ready for their 2018 push and chasing cows.
David, would you introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to?
I am David from Parts Unknown, and I am currently out pimping this hangout to everybody I can possibly find. And I guess other than that, I know Steve's going to hurt me on this, but I am trudging through the unfortunate areas of SEO with people that might be a little bit new to the industry and trying to put out fires, and after a year of being away, trying to give a shit and push it forward. And there you go. That's it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad if you didn't complain about it.
I have to, Steve. I only vent on my personal line. I don't vent in the groups. I only vent in my personal space, okay? If I can't vent in my personal space, where can I vent?
No. Come on. You got like Billy, was that old Billy Crystal skit? It's like, well, I really hate when that happens. Yeah, when you get a paper cut, you pour Tabasco sauce in it.
Listen, man. The only reason I'm out, well, okay, there are some ulterior motives, but one of the main reasons I'm out there doing it is because this feels like 2005, 2010 in the SEO industry, that the rampant amount of misinformation, regurgitation, and crap, we're all going to get painted with that same brush someday. Yeah, fair enough, Steve. You and I do other marketing things, and Terry's a developer, whatever. But the industry itself will get painted with this brush again. The snake oil is on the rise. It's everywhere. And I just feel the goddamn need to try and put the fires out. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I swear to God.
Well, if you wouldn't leave every so often. And frustration, some of us have been here all along.
Dude, I checked. I was gone for all of 20. Dude, I was gone for the entire year. I was literally.
I think that we should have this default rule where any article about SEO and how it works and behaves automatically expires and gets deleted from the internet every 2 years. Everything has a 2-year lifespan.
I can deal with that.
Gone.
Yeah, I could actually agree with that.
And if you publish an article without a date, it's not indexable.
Hell, dude, I've had people reference posts I wrote in 2007 or something, and I'm looking at it going, no longer the case. No, doesn't matter anymore. It's like,
And I've done that. I've gone back and every so often go through the blog, go through the old stuff, and it winds up being a nice source for new content, because then you can refer back to the old post and say, back here at this point, we used to be able to do these things. This is the way it is today.
So you're stealing your old content to build skyscraper posts.
Well, no, refreshable content, which is
exactly
funny enough, something. No, I was in a client meeting today about a content strategy, and I had the writer there, and which was Doc and stuff, and we were talking about those kind of posts that you can refresh every year. You know what I mean? It could be a holiday thing, or it could be whatever. But as opposed to your standard content, it's something you can refresh every year and bring it back to life. You know, and as Bill, as you know, we've seen more than a few patents on that. You know, of finding, rediscovering content that it was existing but has value because it's updatable. So.
Mm-hmm. Zara, you had a question about WordPress?
Yeah, I do. I have a client, Jeff Bond with Inspect.net, and we've been working on some content. Can you show my screen first? Yes, voila. Are you seeing
shiny
now?
bubble.
Can you see that? No, screen share.
Whoa, that's the wrong screen share. All right, just change your tab. Change your tab. You'll get there.
Oh, can you see it now?
No, Zoltaire, she's having a WordPress issue. You might be able to help us in this one.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
Oh, there's a good-looking guy, though. I see you've got some good-looking dudes.
I know. I don't know. It's not going to my screen.
Oh, there you go. Now we got it.
Oh,
Have you
we're
got
there.
it?
Yeah, no, it's there. Bill,
Oh,
Bill, just click on her. So,
Okay,
Bill,
all
lock
right.
the screen in
So,
on her. Lock the
all
screen
right.
on her, Bill.
Yeah, all right. So on this, we have a number of details about various aspects of home inspection.
Yeah.
And right up here at the top somewhere, we would like to put an introduction about things, although this is a WordPress plugin called...
Okay, don't worry about the plugin. Just tell us what you want to accomplish. We will find a way to make it happen.
Cool Beanies. All right, we want to put introductory text up here, you know.
Yeah, damn good idea, because Terry's going to lose his shit in a moment. So. Whenever Terry sees a site like that, Terry just ultimately... So we're going to let Terry come up on this one first.
I was like, so we were talking about it this morning. I said, okay, listen, I'm going to bring it up at the Bogus Hangout today. And the...
Okay, Zoltaire, let me tell you something I tell my clients all the time. When you search a search engine, do you search with words?
Me?
Yeah.
Search
Yes.
words? Yeah.
You don't copy and paste an image in there, do you?
No.
So are there words at the top of that page?
Yeah.
No. So yeah, you might want to tell your client that, because words are kind of important to a search engine.
Well, Dave, they've already figured that much out.
Really like words.
That's what we're trying
Dave, they already have that figured out. They're just trying to figure out how to actually put the words up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So I'm going to
depending on
sharing.
depending on
So
which
Steve,
which
just a bad theme, Steve, or what are we talking here?
It depends on the. I'm just taking a quick glance at the theme, and it's one of them builder themes, isn't it?
WordPress, but those are actually in a plugin called Projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's no way for him to put in this introductory text within that.
Yeah, that's because of the way the.
Well, you can hack
it's the same
theme.
thing.
There's always a way. You can hack the theme. There's always
a way.
Okay, he can
The
hack.
question is,
all right.
You want to insert some text directly into the top of the source code.
Correct.
For that page, but in a child theme, obviously. And man, I understand the use of projects. I'm not a big fan of them.
Okay.
Just because of issues like this, you get locked into these weird layout issues. It's a similar problem people have with WooCommerce. It's a wonderful tool, but it's just not as flexible as it should be.
Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
Steve,
Yeah.
and the problem is once you hack the theme, every time it updates, you got to go back.
Well,
and do
that's
it.
why you do it. That's why you do it in a child. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah, that's.
all right. So he can come back
You just
and
need to.
check what you guys.
Basically, you're gonna. If it's the one I'm thinking of, there should be a projects.php file in your. Oh, God, I'm trying to think of the folder structure off the top of my head. But anyway, what you'll want to do is copy that particular file over to your child theme, and then you can start playing around with editing or adding text right directly into the source code and see where it appears on the page and adjust accordingly.
Okay, cool. So he can play with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Easy peasy, but yeah, I would definitely get some text up there.
Yeah, it needs text, and we've written the text, but he couldn't find a way to put it in, and so I said I'd ask you guys today because
Zara, is that your site or a client's?
it's a client site. I
All
am,
right, so just
I am
explain.
not a home inspector.
No, I'm just saying, explain to them that the same way I said it to you. Just do you go to Google and drag an image into the search box, or do you use words? They're going to tell you, well, I type into Google with words. That's the best way to sell them on that. And I mean, is that Google and words are kind of important.
Okay.
You know, it's simplistic, but clients are often simplistic. So.
Yeah, well, he's not. So, I mean, he was just up this morning. But you guys have been very helpful, as always.
Anyways, yeah, feel free to reach out, Steve or myself, because, well, I don't do the WordPress. My wife does, but Steve does. I'm sure either of us would be happy to help.
All right, I'll tell him that. Thank you so much, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new, boys? I know I'm not allowed to where I want to go to because Steve's just going to, like, troll my ass. So.
Well, yeah, you would deserve it. So that's that whole issue there.
Hey, man. I'm telling you, it's ugly out there, and it just drives me nuts. But yes, you're right. This is why I end up running away, because I throw myself in the fire, then I get confused why I get burnt, but I don't care. I just keep doing it. Definition of insanity, right? You know?
Yep. Yes, it's still hot, and it's still stupid. The big advantage we have today over the past is we now can insert animated GIFs into our comments on Facebook. And I don't let the world know how we feel about that particular question.
No, Steve, apparently all you have to do is navigate your site and you can rank better. I couldn't even, like, I swear to Steve, I regret the day I ever gave up the domain SEObullshit.com, because in the last 2 weeks I've had so much fodder. So much fodder in the last 2 weeks, man.
Part of the problem is you went into some of the really bad groups. I've left all of those. Let those people flounder. Let them fail. They're run by a handful of people.
That's what's killing me, though, man.
No. The problem is they're run by a handful of people who are trying to make themselves appear to be gurus. And they do that by attracting large crowds of people who don't know anything. And it allows them to appear smart to the world. And that's not something I'm willing to participate in, and I'm not certainly not going to help that person.
They are the larger groups that are getting FaceTime in the industry of people listening to them, which means I might have to go back into forensic SEO someday, which I don't want to fucking do. I mean,
send it to me. I'll do it.
No, but again,
I'm not shy.
I'm being serious here for a second. When I was doing forensic for SEO for like 4 years, I heard stories about people mortgaging their houses and getting screwed by an SEO and this and that and that. Like, I heard sob stories that were painful to me. Like, I couldn't sleep at night and shit like that. And these are the kind of situations in these groups, like you and me back in the days in the forums and whatever. But these are the kind of things that make them happen. And I don't know. Like, I just can't help myself but to stick my fucking neck in there and say no. What are you talking about? Like, what are you even on about? I don't know. Like, I just can't help myself but to stick my fucking neck in there and no. All right. I think you got the video playing there. Talking about what are you even on about? I don't know. Like, I just can't help myself but to stick my fucking neck in there. All right. I think you got the video. She's gonna listen to this over and over. Swear to God. Zara, honey. Bill, you might need a meter, buddy. She's gonna listen to this over and over. Swear to God. Zara, honey.
Zara's in the room.
Bill, you might need a meter, buddy. She's gonna listen to this over and over. Yeah, da 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 da.
There you go, Bill.
Anyways, yeah, you know, again, bro, it's the reason I started writing in the first place. It's the reason I started doing things, and yeah, I keep wandering because I frustrate myself to death, but it's just crazy, and
No,
I don't want everyone to get painted with
it.
that same brush.
I certainly get it, but I also have this very firm recollection of Don Quixote, and you're never going to be able to put out enough of it. So I've moved to groups with a little higher level of discussion, and I spend more time away from those areas because you can't change them. I gave up a long time ago. The only time I pop into them now is to mess with people, do a little bit of trolling, and but generally, I mean, some of the questions are just so beyond
No,
basic.
no. I don't mind the questions. It's some of the answers that I mind.
Well, those two.
It's not the question. Like
everyone,
everyone's allowed to be new and have a beginner question. It's some of the fucking answers,
right?
And then the fight back on when I try to go, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And those are the people. It's like, no, yeah, I'm going to let them go because no desire to argue with them anymore. I've got way too much going in life to spend a single minute trying to have an intelligent debate with somebody who is absolutely convinced that something they know, and it's so completely totally wrong.
In defense of two said gurus, I did have personal conversations with both of them on Skype, and they, we had it out, and they've allowed me to, go nuts and made me a moderator, whatever, and so at least that. I'll give them that, but it's still the people, like, and even still, like, just before I came on here, I was talking to a couple of guys from one of the groups that actually wanted to learn. They don't know, and they don't know what to listen to, that they have problem disseminating the information out there. They're like, they hear one thing here and one thing there, one thing here, one thing there, and they don't know what to believe. They don't know what to do. Like
You're not doing research to back up what.
Yeah, they're not doing much research.
No. Someone says, "Yeah, go ahead, use LSI."
Why did you have to use that one?
I'm not sure how you do that, but
it sure sounds good.
Sure
don't I sound fancy? Good. I said latent semantic indexing. I sound fancy.
I've come to the conclusion on these kind of things, and it was a quote that I read by Wayne Gretzky that really opened my eyes. There's a player complaining about another player being not so good, and Wayne gretzky looked at the guy and said, look, he's just trying to make a living. What's the point? That's the way I look at it.
But shooting a puck at the net doesn't. No. Come on, Terry, man. You and I did forensics together. Shooting a puck at a net doesn't lose some of their life savings. I mean, I've dealt with people that have had shitty SEOs fuck up their life, and they're sitting there telling me, like, I mortgaged my house and everything else, and this SEO came along, and now we're in trouble. And I even in a corporate sense. Like, you screw up a corporate one, the guys at the top aren't suffering. Some guy in the warehouse loses a job because revenues are down because of something you fucked. No, son, there's a personal cost. There is a personal cost to people screwing up SEO, and I take, that bothers me, man. I guess that's why I keep doing it. But Steve keeps reminding me that I can only do it for a short period of time.
Well,
love you, Steve.
I just believe that you're further ahead to try and educate or edumacate the people that are hiring the idiots. That is a better plan and a more strategic way of going about doing it.
So you're saying I should put out some articles and videos about how to hire an SEO? I'd be better off.
Allow people to contact you and you tell them what they need for SEO and then tell them what that guy should be telling them. That's what SEO pros used to do. Basically, help the person make the decision.
Oh, speaking of which, buddy, I put out an AMA today on Facebook because I was waiting for this to start, so I didn't figure I'd get any work done. Chris Boggs came and hammered me up, so I'll talk to you later. But yeah,
there you go.
I told him what you were thinking.
Yeah, but I've always, that's what SEO Pros was basically to help people find an SEO, because I realized years ago that our expectations for people to have the knowledge to hire an SEO was not realistic, because if they had the knowledge to hire an SEO, they wouldn't need them.
Does someone know, like, if it's your first car or your first legal case, do you know what a good lawyer or car mechanic is? You don't. It's trial and error. But the problem is with businesses, trial and error could be a life savings. And
but that's a little bit different in that a lawyer actually has a certificate on the wall from a government, and there is
and we've got a low bar to entry that anyone who knows how to build a PBN can get in the game.
That's the problem. Is the bar to entry is far too low. Right.
Well, yeah, and that's both good and bad. I can give you a whole lot of reasons for either side of that particular coin. The issue is, well, I shouldn't say the issue. There's a lot of issues when it comes to business owners trying to sort out who to hire, who not to hire. And a lot of them do get ripped off, but that hasn't changed since, the first Yellow Pages came out. There's a certain amount of due diligence that you have to expect the owners of the businesses to do. And if they're not willing to do at least a minimal amount of due diligence, then, well, I feel bad for them and I hope that they get their stuff sorted out. I'm also not going to lose a whole lot of sleep over it.
Yeah, I don't see it as a personal mission.
Hey, but again, like, okay, Steve, when I did my AMA thing early on Facebook, and I said, hey, anyone, I'm sick of fucking typing today. Anybody want to come out and talk? I'm on Skype. Come hit me up.
Sure.
Two of the guys that showed up literally were terrified about taking on a client because they didn't want to hurt their business, this and that. And I had to talk to them about, qualifying clients and all the usual rigmarole and say, you got to get your feet wet. There's no other way. You know what I mean? They're like, well, I've started a couple of my own sites, this and that, but that's not going to tell you anything. That's not going to help you with client issues and client problems, this and that. So, there are people that give a shit. They definitely gave a shit. But that's funny enough. The ones who don't give a shit are the ones out pushing the boundaries. The ones who do give a shit are deer in the headlights, don't know what to do.
And those people will move on from those base entry level groups really quickly. And some of them will stick around and try to help out and realize, just like good Lord, how long were we in the forums? What, 10, 12, 15 years?
Yeah.
And I asked some pretty damn stupid questions when I started out, but I paid attention to the answers.
Then we moved on to Web Pro World, wasn't it? What was it? The other one?
Web Workshop.
No, but okay,
yeah. There were a bunch of them, and it's just, I get it. I just I put my time in very sparingly in some of the entry level groups.
Now I was trying to give advice to these young guys today. Well, one was actually 35. He wasn't that young, but whatever. Young in the industry guys. Is there really any other way than cutting your teeth? Like I was telling him, like, get an internship. And he was like, I would work an internship for free. So I said, what are you doing tomorrow? But I said, at the end of the day, just walk around your neighborhood. Go to local businesses of that you frequent, that they trust you or something. You know what I mean? get your feet wet. Like, you know, you got to dip your foot in the pool. Like, is there any other way?
The best place for anybody who's curious, who wants to learn the ropes, cut your teeth, whatever you want to call it, the best place to do that is charities. Go find a couple of local charities that have very little exposure and help them for free, because they will take the help for free gladly, and anything you can do will help them in a measurable way, because one, you're not going to be fighting a lot of heavy competition, so you're going to be able to learn a lot of that. Two, you're going to be dealing primarily local, so you're going to learn a lot about it, local citations and local SEO. You can get your fingers into technical SEO because you can help with the website. There's just so much you can do with local charities, and you get the feel good of it, of knowing you're helping a charity, and you don't have to worry about putting anybody out of business because they don't have that they have to worry about getting paid by.
Yeah, I did all my own stuff, so I just built sites myself.
Like, I've been out of the ecosystem for a while, Steve, and so I don't know if my feelings are right, but it almost seems like there's a rise of link spam coming back again. Like after 2010, when they started slapping everyone around, and Panda, Penguin, and Manuals started coming up, like it seemed to degrade a bit. Lately, it's like the rise of the link spam again. Is that just me because I'm in out of the ecosystem, or is this?
If you're going to those groups, I expect to see.
No. What I'm saying though is, Steve, is it because I've been out of the system, or is this actually starting to get a new life?
I'm gonna say about a year ago, give or take a bit, there was a small announcement made by somebody at Google. I can't remember who it was, whether it was John Moo or Gary Isles or somebody, who basically said they had the link thing on lock and they were no longer penalizing people. They were just devaluing the links that they didn't like. And almost immediately, people started throwing every single link they could think of at websites, knowing that the ones that didn't work would simply get devalued.
Right. So there's no downside to it. There's no downside.
There's no downside anywhere. Right.
And in the common perception, at least. Right. Yeah.
But again, there is to think that Google at some point might change their mind and go after it all is not really based on what's happened in the past.
Exactly, Terry. Because Terry, 2010, they were spanking people left and right, and so that all just kind of broke away and disappeared, you know, and Smarty time, you know, and it all went away. It just seems like it's coming back in full force again. Like I see so many conversations about PBNs and shit lately. I'm just like shaking my head.
A year after Penguin, you were hearing how PBNs worked and all this other crap. You know, it's just
people
the way
are asking about PBNs all over again.
Yeah,
you know,
just the way.
One of the new, I've seen this term more often in the last 2 or 3 weeks than I probably have in the last 2 or 3 years. People started talking about money sites again, and building building their network of sites to feed their money site. And it's like, okay, I don't know who had a webinar.
Yeah, in tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 3 and all that shit.
Well,
somebody higher up in the food chain.
Someone found
somebody
an old
published
thing
something
from 2009 and thought it was current.
There are still people out there publishing that stuff today. They are still running webinars. They are still doing, you know, the $12 ebooks. They're still going strong.
They're recycling
they're just
that stuff, reselling it.
Yep.
It
change the logo on the PDF.
Work or not, they're reselling it anyway.
Yeah.
And people will do those things whether or not they work. They don't bother to test.
But again, Bill, I don't care. I don't really care. If you want to do that with your churn and burn, if you want to do that with your own sites, that's great. But when you, okay, so here's a conversation I had with a couple of.
I don't do that.
No, I know you. I meant you in general, like human beings. So here's something I broached with a couple of guys that came to me for advice today. Is funny enough, we used to hear the term ethics brought up for years. I don't hear that anymore. Do you guys even hear the SEO ethics? No, that used to come up once a year.
Never made sense to begin with.
Anyways, No, it does make sense, but it used to come up year after year. That doesn't even come up anymore, okay? And what I said to them is, here's the ethical stance. If you want to go churn and burn strategy, you want to go whatever strategy that's slightly risky, if you clear that with your client and say, hey, I'm going to go about it this way, and if you sign off on that, I'm going to go do it. Here's the risks. Here's what could happen. Are you cool with that? You're cool with that? Then I'm going to go do it. That doesn't even happen because that conversation of ethics doesn't even happen anymore. I used to laugh. We all used to. Bill, I'm sorry, Steve, Terry, you guys know we used to laugh our asses off at the SEO ethics conversations. You know what's funny? Yeah. Don't even hear them anymore. Don't even hear them.
That's so the main reason.
A lot of these guys think these PBNs and these strategies that are potentially toxic. They don't even think to bring them up to their clients. They just think it's a legitimate SEO tactic.
That primarily is because the people who were promoting the ethics side of that all went away. They got tired of tilting at windmills. I mean, when was the last time you saw or heard, a Bruce Clay ad where he talked about, their ethics guarantee or whatever it was they had?
No, but I understand the marketing play. But even on the flip side, look at Jill Whalen. Remember that site she used to have where she was burning people, kind of like I used to?
Yeah, I mean, but she left the industry because she was done with it.
Right. So those voices are gone now.
Yeah, they all decided, screw y'all, I'm going home.
And they've been replaced by these Facebook gurus that are leading the new masses. This is what's bothering me.
Look, I'm going to fight a battle I can win. You can't win that battle because at the heart of it is laziness and stupidity. And you can't fix stupid. Period. That's the way I look at it.
Well, I just want stupid to go work at McDonald's to get the fuck out of my industry.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Off, man.
And
again, I realize I'm pissing on a forest fire, but I can't help myself.
Yeah,
that's how you get your winker burned.
Got to pick your battles. That's the way I look at it. I'm kind of saying part of the reason is there is no bars.
And I have picked my battles, Terry. I've gone into these two groups that are probably the most potentially followed groups, and I've been fucking fighting it out. And I know exactly what I'm doing. It's very calculated. I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Because these are two places where there's 20-odd thousand people fucking that are going to go shit on my industry. And I don't want people shitting on my industry.
Most of them probably don't even have clients.
Chris fucking Boggs reached out to me today. You know what I mean? Like, and I've only been back, 2 weeks? So.
Yeah.
Somebody has to.
Better ways to do things. That's all.
I love it.
I'm kind of with...
My favorite. You got it right
one.
when Terry's muttering under his breath.
Rather than going into the gutters and trying to lift people up out of the gutters, I'm looking towards standing somewhere with a little more prominence with the people who actually do the hiring, and educating them about what to look for.
Yeah. See, again, good. I'm happy, Steve. So you take that road. You take the high road, and I'll take the low road. And so I'll take the fucking low road. You take that one, and between us, we'll get it fixed, or at least change it a little bit. Man, I don't care
until one of us burns out again.
Well, I'm pretty sure which one of us that'll be.
I don't know. The farm's looking better and better every day.
Yeah, and I think there's a pressure, kind of like, that, Steve, like, you and I have had many a private conversation. I don't think I can handle doing this, like, publicly much longer anyways. So it maybe it's the last kick at the can or something on my way out. I don't know. But I just have to. I don't have to, I guess, but I just feel I want to,
Just set it all on fire and watch it burn.
And so, Bill.
Yeah.
As one of the most respected people in the industry, I know you do participate in some of the same groups and everything else, but you're always been low key. Does anybody miss Snarknado? Oh, I'm sorry. You know, there was a period in your time that you were a little more passionately aggressive instead of passive aggressive that you normally are. What, like, and I know you care about this industry. I know you care about search, like, because, you know, it was funny. I was talking to some people privately today, and actually, sorry, it was Chris Boggs, Sempo, and I was like, so many of us have either moved on, you know, your Jill Whalens or your Deborah Mistallers and you know, so many people, or died, because we've had a lot of us die. And I was joking with Chris Boggs that, you know, give it another 10 years and they'll be talking about us as the forefathers of SEO, which is pathetic. And so Bill, why aren't you more, because I know you love this, you know, so much, why aren't you more passively pissing on the fires?
Because some people just can't be helped. You can't help stupid. I'm sorry, you can't.
But what if
the guy's got a PhD in biochemistry? If he's writing a page about Google 200 ranking factors using something he calls a skyscraper method, which is steal content from other people and improve upon it, it's like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to help him improve. Let him go his crooked way.
But what about the industry as a whole? You know, are you? Fuck off, Terry.
Okay, let's go a different.
Bill and I have done the industry as a whole route, and they proved us they don't
from somewhere else.
Oh, I know I'm getting my ass kicked here, boys, but whatever. All right, go ahead, Steve.
No. What I'm saying is, if you want to look at the industry as a whole, let's start talking about all the industries. Every single industry has exactly the same problems. You've got your automotive repair industries. You've got your jewelers. You've got your bakers. Everybody.
Sure you did this on a podcast about 10 years ago.
Problem. Yeah. Every industry has a problem with their bottom rung versus everybody else. And
so I'm overthinking.
This is one of the few industries where they spend so much time on it.
All right, fine.
It's just easy to get yourself sucked into. There's something wrong on the internet, and I must fix it.
Somebody had to argue about the internet. Yeah.
I never liked any of you guys, anyways. I'm just putting that out there.
Dave, we're trying to save you a lot of hassle so that in 8 months
this is not Bill and Ammon's bogus hangout. This is an intervention now.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying to save you from yourself.
That's right.
Wow. All right, fine. So what else do we want to talk about? Okay, so I got one here. People have been getting these messages from Google the last couple of days through Search Console about their HTTPS being on an old standard. Anybody got one of these?
Yep.
All right. So, is this complete idiocy, Steve? Because people with HostGator, people without any kind of control over that situation, are they going to be able to do anything about it?
No. All they can do is send an email to their hosting company. What my concern is
maybe
less
a
about
hosting
that.
company play that could offer that, or
yeah, my concern though is I'm starting to have clients forward me a lot of emails that look official, that say your SSL/TLS is about to expire. Please click this link to find out more.
Huh.
And I'll be damned if they're not clicking on it. And it's like, oh, please stop.
So no, literally, dude, this has been going on for like 4 days. So the spammers are already capitalizing on it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I got my first email from a client 2 days ago, and he's like, "What's up? What's the deal on this?" And of course, they're University of Berkeley Computer Research Center kind of deal. And it's like, okay, first of all, that Berkeley's not going to be contacting you about your SSL certificate. Second of all, yours doesn't expire until March. And third, it auto-renews, so we don't have to even worry about it. So please, from now on, just delete these emails.
Right.
I can get real close, too. Does that help?
Yeah. Isn't it just a domain scam?
No,
Yeah.
all right, hold on. Let me screen share here for a second. I'll show everybody who might be listening, watching later. Here's what they look like. Google has detected that your site is using a obsolete version of TLS version 1. As a result, it is easier for third parties to intercept blah, 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 blah. How to update this problem? So,
see,
okay, my question, Steve, is I can count 3, 2, 1 until some marketer, SEO person, or whatever is going to try and well, you already identified some with the scam stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But until somebody says that because of this email here from Google, that because Google likes HTTPS, that your site's going to rank lower if you're not on version 2. Come on. How long is that going to take? Like a couple of days?
not version 2 either. It's 1.1.
Or is that what it is? Sorry. No, TLS 1.2 right there.
Oh, 1.2 then. Okay.
Yeah.
But very few ISPs actually run on that. Most people, unless you have control.
Well, most people have no control over that. That's the big issue I had.
Right.
I mean, like I have my own service with my own
Google
clients.
should be sending out those kind of messages. Google should not be sending out messages like that. That's just gone to the extreme. That's not their business.
Well, that's like certain plugins in WordPress saying you need to upgrade your PHP.
Websites belong to us. All your websites belong to us. They are the Gorg.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I saw that making the rounds this week, and people were like freaking out. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because if you're on a shared hosting or whatever, like your usual HostGator or whatever, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Like the only way is if you have your own box. That's the only way you have access at that level.
It's like telling you your PHP is out of date or your MySQL is out of date. Like, what the fuck are they gonna do about that? Nothing.
Right. And to say it's less secure is, fucking pretty iffy statement if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Terry, HTTPS is a ranking factor. So where's your head at?
Yeah, right. I don't know. When I put it on, everything went down. So I'm still scratching my head about
Hey, dude, all I need is a HTTPS and a PBN, and I'm good to go. I'm ruining the search.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
That's it.
If you start asking around, most people tell you for 2 or 3 months after they changed to HTTPS, they lost rankings. Ask around.
They might want to check the redirects, but I'm just saying.
Like, I'm gonna say,
I've done it on multiple client sites without a hiccup, so I don't know.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah.
And the ones I've seen that had problems had sketchy 301s.
Yeah, it's always the
301s.
redirects. Yeah, it's always the redirects and how they're handled and how many chains you got going on. Like if you had a bunch of chains of redirects before that, then you went and did that. I remember a conversation with Matt, which is awesome because now I can talk about he's not there. When Eric Enga put out some article that chained redirects are going to lose you all this equity and this and that. So I emailed Matt and I said, bro, is this real or not? He's like, no. He's like, there's slight loss. It's like 1 and 2 percentile kind of stuff. But but once you start getting,
I'm also not a big fan.
Once you start getting into once you start getting into like 3 and 4 levels of redirects, and then you go HTTPS, I'm pretty sure that's going to cause a hiccup.
Yeah,
and that's it, I guess, Steve. It's like like I know you left a couple of those Facebook groups, but you're still in a couple. There's some basic questions that should be common logic if you had any experience, and if you can't answer that question yourself, you need to go get a job somewhere or intern somewhere or whatever. You shouldn't be servicing clients.
Yeah. Well, and
90% of the questions are the guys just too lazy to go look it up himself.
No, dude, they just don't know because they don't have the experience. They don't have the wisdom. They don't have the background.
Because you didn't try. Sorry, I have been astounded by what I can find on Google. if I search for it, I can find it. To say, like, I found stuff like, what day did they announce this on Google? Like,
all right, so there you go. There's your 7-day challenge. There's my new 7-day challenge from Terry Van Horn, which will be anytime I see a question, I will actually take that question, paste it into Google, and just stick a link back.
right. And say,
Because
this
the
is
answer's
how
already
I
out there.
answer. Give it a try. You might learn something. They're all just lazy. That's what it comes down to. Laziness. They ask the question before they even look. I see it even in the dojo. You can tell the guy didn't even go.
No.
Oh, but see, the dojo's
I know
the first
exactly
place
what
I
Terry.
look.
No, wait. I know exactly. I'm going to take a guess here. I know exactly what he's talking about, and it's regex.
Yeah.
Because we see a lot of regex questions, which you can answer on Google instantly.
Yeah. Like, and if you ask the question correctly, Google will put it right in the results for you, spelled out.
I remember back in the forums, and Google would make a change. People would start asking, has my site been penalized? I'm losing traffic. And you'd have to go through the same series of questions with them. Did you change anything to your website? Did your competitors change anything to their websites? Did your industry change somehow?
I call that Sherlock Holmes forensics, because once you answer all the various questions, whatever remains must be the truth.
Either that or Matt just didn't like your website.
He pushed the button. He pushed the button. It was me. He didn't like my comment on his video. It's me he's after. He doesn't like me.
He got mad at me for spamming his blog. You know it's bad when he's getting those emails and blog comments.
So which brings up another thing. That knowing your history helps you know the future. I know Terry, you and I have done this a million times, but that's another thing with some of these young guys, is that so much of understanding like what's happening now is by understanding what's happened in the past. You know, like lack of study and that lack of understanding the past. Like I mentioned today, Bill, thread, and someone was talking about something or other, and penalties and sorry, it was that whole new kerfuffle about the paid fucking blog posts and shit, which I was like, okay, nothing new. No, I said, well, it's the whole BMW. I said it was the whole BMW thing, and then I put in brackets, if you don't know your search history, then you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. And someone actually had the balls to go out and search it and came back with the whole BMW thing, which was like 2003, 2004. But knowing that history, meaning not only knowing it like from a informational perspective, but our own history as guys who've been actively doing this with clients for so many years, you can't replace that wisdom. You need some sense of history so that when you hear advice or you hear news that comes out of search engine roundtable, that you can look at it and say, well, okay, that's interesting or it's not interesting. You know what I mean? Or even Bill, like you and I, like we you've been reading patents longer than me, but I've been at it since 2004 or whatever. And, I can see a history of concepts, a history of ideas. If it's papers or patents, doesn't matter. But you see a history of ideas, and you can tell which ones went by the wayside and which ones were carried on and evolved. You know what I mean? I think history is an important part of everything we do.
I'm starting to notice papers from Google that talk about some of those concepts. Like one that just came out that talks about clustering and the effects of clustering on search results.
I think they've played with that for years. Like I've seen so many different versions of clustering. It's almost like they're throwing darts at a dartboard and going, let's try this one and see what data we get. Let's try it. It's weird, like, because clustering, I'd say I'd agree, because it's almost like they don't have a handle on it. Like they keep trying different ways. I mean, like we've seen domain clustering, we've seen like all kinds, and it's just, I'm not a fan of it myself, to be honest. As a user, I'm not a fan of it, but I've seen how they tend to play with the results on that level.
No, it's good to give the new SEOs, people new to the industry, a chance to revisit topics like that, because they don't have any concept. When you talk about domain clustering, what are you referring to?
Well, they don't know.
To Google purposefully limiting the amount of results they show on a set of search results from one page. And sometimes they indent some results. Sometimes they do a entity association, in which case your query contains an entity that's associated with a specific website. So you perform that search and you no longer have domain clustering. So most people don't realize that there's a reason why you're no longer just seeing 2 results at most from one site.
Well, no, you remember we used to have them inset, and then we would have them all, you know what I mean? Like over the years, we've seen so many varieties of clustering, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But history's so important. I don't fucking know.
But
I'm just going to cry now,
go
Steve.
back
I'm
to
so depressed.
your search for Jaguars. And it's the cat, it's the car, it's the football players, and they're clustered in search results. And the type of clustering sometimes reflects the amount of websites there are out there in the world that contain those different topics. And sometimes they more have something to do with your own personalized search history, and maybe something you've clicked on in the past.
Yeah, I believe that history is when you're trying to share knowledge, right? I think providing people with your knowledge of the history of that, right, is important, especially for if you're trying to help people who are just kind of starting out, because then they can see the evolution. And to me, when I see an update, I'm not thinking, oh, how can I exploit that? How can I use that to get higher rankings? No, I look at it as what was the problem they were trying to fix, and what was the solution? Because there I'm not just learning about one part of the algorithm. I'm learning how to anticipate where they might go next. And to me, that's future-proofing of your SEO. You're one step ahead of them. You're not waiting for them and being a reactive SEO. You're actually being, how do you call it? Yeah.
I'm finding I'm linking to old blog posts, the start of newer blog posts, and explaining why I'm linking to those. Sometimes search engines change in how they respond to things. And if you can articulate that and explain it, I think you're doing a lot of people a service by being able to do that.
Yeah, it also.
That's why I just take your articles and dumb them down.
But Tony and I were talking earlier about clustering, and he mentioned something about using certain queries as plural.
Right.
And how that would change the clustering results.
Yeah. And also, I remember back when Google wasn't even really plural sensitive. It was like flat all the way across. I used to keep track of that, which engines were stemming and which weren't.
And Google got rid of the plurals in the keyword planner, the planner tool.
Yeah, I don't pay a lot of attention to plural and regular. In fact, they even combine the results of the two in my keyword research.
Terry, stemmings. That's when you have like pluralizations and
yeah.
Aren't those the bits you throw away? Oh no, that was something else.
The other big one was decompounding compound words. So I had one client who was building, leasing, renting data centers, and they were spelling data centers as one word. And I noticed in the keyword planning tool, one word data centers was getting 800 searches a month. And as a 2-word phrase, it was getting 14,000 searches a month. So suggested to them that they change around the way they were spelling data centers on the website, which they liked. They liked the additional traffic. They hated the fact that all their trademarks that included data center had them as one word.
Yeah, it could be too that people in the industry treated it as one word, and people outside of the industry would call it 2 words.
I'm not sure that there were that many people searching for data centers in one variation or the other that would affect that much.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a wider group that type of bias wasn't being felt.
Okay, but in some cases it could be, right, where the people within the industry spell and use a terminology that people outside of the industry don't. We're starting to see that with office space and co-working are almost becoming interchangeable, like to the point where the industry doesn't even know what to call each now.
And the people who provide co-working are also referring to it as offices as a service.
Right. So because they're also trying to rent out office space as well as co-working. It's like those two businesses started apart, but now they're commingled. I'm beginning to think the only real difference between a business center and co-working is the amount of support supplied by the provider. In other words, events that help you run your business, etc.
And that may vary from one provider to another.
Correct.
How much they actually provide. Yeah.
Right. I've been looking into a lot of that lately, actually, because we're going down that road.
Mm-hmm. If do you provide a mail drop? Do you provide a receptionist?
Yeah, all that stuff is there. It's a regular business center, and what we did is what used to be called hot desks. They were in a room by themselves. That's what we use for our co-working, which is basically what I read an article on the weekend that basically said hot desks have been replaced by co-working.
Well, so I have a question since we're already at the top of the hour. Bill, are you doing one of these on the 26th? Boxing Day special.
I'm thinking about
Now, if you do,
family, so I may not. Yeah.
oh, okay. Because I was going to say, if you do, I will come with my top 10 SEO secrets I've never told anyone. Boxing Day special.
Steve doesn't know what to think of that.
Oh yeah, because he knows exactly where I was going to go with that.
Where is?
He's like, "Are you serious, bro?"
Do I have? Oh, damn! The gun's in the house. I've got parts for one over here. Maybe I can get it back together.
Holy shit! I just realized something.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to ask me. They were writing an article about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, whatever, and they were like, "Who are your SEO mentors?" I just realized I'm sitting here with all three. No, you guys are literally the only three people I'd ever listen to other than myself. So,
well, that explains a lot of your problems, doesn't it?
No, that only with you, Steve. And I do appreciate the fact that you've got over your YouTube fetish, Steve. So.
Hey,
oh, for like I swear to God, for like 2 years in the dojo chat room, Steve would put YouTube links up, and I just, I clicked on the first 50, and then never again, never again.
Don't ask a question if you don't want an answer.
See now actually Skype now gives you the previews now on Skype where it didn't before back then. You're blind, just taking a shot in the dark. So.
Blind click and hoping it wasn't something fun.
Yeah, well, I learned after a while, just don't click Steve links.
Okay, we are at the top of the hour. We've got to close on down. Have everybody say goodbye and tell us one thing that they might be up to during next week. David?
Wow, you really had to start here so Steve can follow me up and shit on my head? Yeah. All right. I'm going to be doing more of the same. I'm going to be out trolling the goddamn world of Facebook and places where there's a true lack of SEO information and going insane and then walking away in 6 months and pretty much the same. That's about it.
Okay, well, if you want to tag team spam any of those groups.
Well, I will tag you, my friend, because somebody's going to beat out these fires, and Steve's just going to sit there laughing at me on Skype. Other than that, no, I'm just doing it.
Steve?
Mostly next week is wrapping up 2017, getting ready for 2018, and starting to write again. So that's been interesting. I've been forcing myself to write every week, which has been a little bit of a chore, but we're getting better at it. It's a matter of
I was going to say that's a matter
hitting
of
the right topics to the right audience.
So, you have an audience now. I'm sorry, who?
I do. Nine people have read my latest article on LinkedIn.
Well, okay.
Terry?
That's far more than last time. I could put out a webinar on how I doubled my viewership. I could do a webinar now. I doubled my viewership.
There you go. That'll be it. I doubled my readership in 1 week.
That's it.
I'll be doing more of the same this week, building out a few sites and trying to get a site into Google News.
And working with Dave and Sampo, and apparently you actually still give a shit. You just don't say it in public. Okay, I get it.
Right. It's hard to change the SEO industry overnight, but I guess someone's going to.
Yeah,
we can't all follow Danny Sullivan's footsteps and join Google.
That's right.
So, Bill, what are you going to be up to for the next little while? Please tell us, all the listeners, what you're up to.
I'm going to go visit some groups in Facebook and try to straighten them out.
Oh, my God. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Oh, I have company now. Thank fucking God. It's not fucking easy out there, man.
He's going to give you a hand. You'll tag team.
That's it, man. Between the two of us, maybe something. And I'm not kidding. And I'm not kidding, boys. I know you two don't care because you get your work off referral and everything else. But for everybody else that gets their work as part of being a part of this industry, we will get painted with the same brush eventually. This is no different than 2005 to 2010. In 2010, Google started slapping people down, and so everyone went in the rabbit holes, and they're all coming back out again. This is whack-a-mole time, boys. Whack-a-fucking-mole time. And if we
the problem is, Dan, you're sounding like this actually ever went away, and it didn't.
It did. It literally fucking did, bro. There was less. Okay,
not from what I saw.
Okay, but it's come back and it's in a new realm, which is Facebook, not forums, but it's back. And if this pervades, we will all get painted with the same brush. Mark my words. And so whatever. That's why I'm out here. Anyways, love y'all.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care now.
Have a good week.
Bye.